Billion-dollar disasters, Central and Eastern Winter Storm and Cold Wave, December 2022, by Maida Lanner. When you think of disastrous weather, what comes to your mind? Tornadoes? Wildfires? Floods? Well, no matter what you may have said, a winter storm wasn't probably the first thing you said. After all, how can snow or ice cause a disaster? Snow, and winter in general, is truly one of the most beautiful times of year. Who doesn't love snow? But while beautiful, the winter conditions are just as deadly as any tornado or flood. And that brings us to our story, which takes place in Colorado in the 1970s when a winter storm battered and a family was cut apart. Just kidding, this presentation isn't about The Shining. However, it is about something that does happen in the film. While the 1980 film based on a Stephen King book is purely fictional, what wasn't fictional was the dangers that a large portion of the United States faced in the final days of 2022. While December was soon to be over, the chance for winter storms was only just beginning. They say to go out with a bang, and that's exactly what the year of 2022 was going to do. And this bang came as an unpredictable month of unstable weather. As part of the United States was dealing with a drought, others were grappled with severe weather in the forms of tornadoes and thunderstorms. Even then, the worst wasn't over. No, the worst came just before Christmas. With the first day of this intense system hitting on the 21st of December, the storm lasted 4 days until the 25th. This storm system brought a dangerously cold Arctic front. This front would bring snow, ice, wind, and below freezing temperatures for over 2/3 of Americans. Winter storms, while only happening a few times a year, have caused terrible amounts of damage both in monetary value and in lives. Over the 4 days, the storms caused $8.7 billion in damage and caused 87 people to tragically lose their lives. From the past 20 years, damage from winter storms has been estimated to be $52.7 billion and cost 467 people their lives. How did this happen? The event was triggered by a blast of cold air from high northern Arctic regions being brought down into lower regions of the northern hemisphere, mainly the United States. These Arctic conditions were then worsened by a polar vortex and strengthened into the storms that occurred. What made this storm system so dangerous? It's no surprise that the changing climate of the Earth can affect the severity of storms like these, but how could they affect them specifically? For one, this storm system brought an unusual amount of lake and ocean effect snow, which are both affected by warming temperatures. These effects brought large accumulations of snow to states that were surrounded by any type of water, either ocean or lake. Looking back on recorded storms from the 1980s to the current year of 2023, these types of storms have remained relatively consistent in their intensity and frequency. As for the last 20 years specifically, there have been 10 major winter weather events from the years of 2003 to 2023, with 1 to do on average per year, but as of the last 3 years, the number has stayed at 1 per year. While it may seem easy to blame climate change as the one responsible for these storms and their recent intensity, in truth, it's quite difficult to place the blame on either side. Unfortunately, the only way we can know if these storms are just natural cycles or a consequence of human impacts on the environment is time. So, what can we do? While we can't stop these storms from happening, we certainly can prepare for when they do hit. Number 1, stay up to date with the local weather channels and forecasts. Number 2, prepare for an emergency before it happens and create a plan so you and your loved ones know exactly what to do. This could include making an emergency kit and having a made-up spot for everyone to go to. And number 3, stay inside. Don't try to brave the weather. It's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to end up like him, so be prepared, stay inside, and stay safe. The end.